Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Glens Falls Board of Public Safety meeting. It's 4 p.m. Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. I want to make sure. April 9th. Wow. Hey, look, I can only hope, right? Anyway.
Hey, like that's not on my paper stuff.
That's great. So we'll call the meeting to order. We'll open up first to any public comment. If there's anybody who'd like to address the Board of Public Safety, ask you to come up to this general area so you can be on the camera and tell us your name and address and anything you'd like to share with the Board of Public Safety.
I was going to say,
How are
nobody's
you?
moving.
Are you good?
Yes, it's great. Yes, the general area, right? It's great.
Hi everyone, I'm Norabelle Greenberger. I'm a resident of Glens Falls, a parent of a student at Kensington. I'm also one of the founders of Bike Glens Falls. I just want to give some background on the bike bus idea that was discussed at last night's council meeting. This is an initiative that's being undertaken by a group of parents. One parent actually reached out to me with the idea. They found the Bike Glens Falls website, and so I connected them with the school and the PTA. They put out an outreach email to see if there was any other parents that were interested in being involved. This was in about September or October. And about a dozen or maybe 15 or so parents responded to that and started meeting as a group. And so this group of parents has been working to develop a bike bus. What a bike bus is really just ensuring that kids who are biking to school safely, or who are biking to school can do so safely. It's looking to address traffic congestion at the middle school, trying to address absenteeism with a real focus of how do we get kids to the middle school. Specifically, that's when all of a sudden people have a lot further to go to get to their school. The group really worked hard to do their due diligence. It's funny, they talked to a lot of different bike buses across the country. There's hundreds of them in big cities, small communities. Talked to Geneseo, Seattle, and they also, just do it. And that wasn't the mentality of this group. They really wanted to do some planning and think through what the best approach would be. And that helped to identify some priority routes. A group of, I think about 6 or so of the parents worked to develop priority routes based on where there's crossing guards, where there's signalized intersections crossing the major roadways, to ensure that if we are going to be encouraging more kids to bike to school, they're doing that in the safest way. Right now, there's really no guidance of what are the best routes that kids should be taking to get to school, so the hope would that this would be encouraging more safety, encouraging greater attendance, and that's really the goal here. It's part of a couple of other things that the school is doing. Their bike swap, they're having the second annual bike swap this year. There's also going to be some bike tune-up days, a bike rodeo to refresher on some bike rules to make sure that the kids are following the rules of the road when they are biking to school. All of these routes would be chaperoned by 3 adults who would be at the front, side, and rear to again ensure following all traffic law throughout the entire ride to school. The idea would be that this would happen on the way to school in the mornings, ideally just starting once a week for the rest of the school year.
Right. Hi, I'm Mary Beth Chambers. I live on Horicon Avenue. I have a student in the high school. Just to continue kind of on that note, it's not really an event, it's more of an initiative. And we wish it could be a daily initiative, but the problem is we don't have enough volunteers. It's hard to get 3 people for kind of each elementary school area for each Friday. But it really should be like a daily initiative. And I noticed that you have the bike rodeo for Abe Wing on your agenda today, and this kind of tags along with that in 3rd grade, the kids get to do the bike rodeo, and in the spring, after they complete it and they are successful, they get to ride their bikes to school for the rest of 3rd grade and follow on through 4th grade. Usually there's a parent with them, or a friend's parent. But once they get to the middle school, they're more independent, but they're also out of their regular neighborhood. So many of them haven't biked all the way across the town. Out across the city, so this is a way that we can make sure they're doing it safely. And initially, we thought, well, the middle school would be a good place to start. It would really be nice if it takes off and the kids start, the older kids as they get older, maybe they don't need as many volunteers and they will take the younger kids. It would also be nice eventually to have National Honor Society kids in high school get volunteer hours for doing it. So there's lots of ways we can pull things in, but really it's about getting the kids to school, lowering absenteeism, having them get some exercise, and reducing some congestion around the high school, middle school area. Does anybody have any questions of what our initiative is?
This is just bicycles, right?
Correct.
Yes.
And I will also say that Glens Falls Hospital, they're looking to get high visibility vests that would be on the riders on the routes. Again, just it's all about safety and bicycling.
They were even talking about getting like bike repair stations that we could have, you know, and this would just be a morning thing with volunteers. It's hard to do a bike bus in theory after school when some kids stay after for extra help, some kids go to sports, they kind of all scatter. But wouldn't it be reassuring if a kid had a flat tire on the way to school and they had to walk their bike the rest of the way? They knew that when they got there, oh, there's a bike repair station and there might be a teacher who can help me and I'll be able to get home without having to call a parent. So we're trying to make them more independent and more efficient.
Hi, I'm Barbara Jody. I'm chair of the Adirondack Cycling Advocates. And I just want to express support for the bike bus. The chair of the safety committee on our organization, has talked to us about this, and for a couple of reasons. One, to see if we can provide any volunteers with the bike bus. But we also believe in this because there is safety in numbers. So if there is a bike bus, it's actually safer for the students to get to school than it is as in a onesie twosie because they're more visible. And the infrastructure, as we all know, isn't there to really sufficiently provide for cyclists in the city yet. So it's better if they are in numbers, they'll be more visible. We can also provide, if there's going to be a bike bus, Adirondack Cycling Advocate is willing to provide bike bells to all of the students who participate. So if that's something that could be helpful to you, which would make them more audible, you know, is that they can use their bells. And then the other thing is we also fund the kit, the pump, the whatever, I forget what it's called, I'm sorry. But there's a unit that you can install, and we have installed one over off of the trail on Country Club Road. If you go in there, there's actually a station, I'm going to call it a station, I'm not sure that's what it's called, that has a pump and other tools.
It's like a repair
It's a
station.
repair station, yes, thank you. With it today. And so, you know, if there's identified a location that would be, would benefit from a repair station, then the cycling advocates could actually fund something like that for the city of Glens Falls. So I just wanted to, you know, express the Adirondack Cycling Advocate support for the whole bike bus concept.
So this is not on your agenda. It's not an event, as it was explained to me last night. And so it's more of a group of parents that are organizing these trips. They're not asking for any support or like we would normally, you know, ask for an event. So we were asking for it because we saw it as being an event that would happen every Friday or every day, depending on how it progresses. But that is not the case. And so again, like with the on your agenda is the bike, the school rodeo, right? And that's
Yeah.
because the school submitted an application for your for review and approval. It's not the case. We just the folks who come in to let you know that it's happening. Okay.
Yeah, let's consider it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Appreciate all your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Best of luck.
This is great. It's a very positive thing that you're doing.
Great idea.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are you?
Hi, everybody. Good. I'm fine, thank you.
Very good.
Frank Capabianca, Sheriff of the Street, Glens Falls, grandson at Kensington School. So, well, actually, no, now he's in the middle school. Time flies. But so that program sounds very good. I'm just here as a follow-up. I was here the last meeting, and I sent around a few thoughts I had to the committee. I think they were forwarded to everyone.
Yeah, I made copies in your packet of the information.
Oh, great, okay, good.
Yeah.
I already see that one of the things that already been implemented, I guess it's a state law anyway, that EVs are not allowed on sidewalks, which I wasn't really aware of that, but I did read the patrolman who's in charge of the cycling, who sent around a note on Facebook about, reminding people of cycling rules, so that was very well written. I was also looking at that and was wondering about scooters. I think they're not allowed on sidewalks, obviously. I think a lot of the motorized scooters in the city, I know that the city probably can't enforce anything with licensing with them, but I think down the road, we're looking at eventually having to license these EVs that just go along, there's no pedal at all, they're really more like a car than they are anything. Maybe some of you realize that's really a true safety issue. And am I right in thinking that only the state can address that as far as licensing EVs, if it should come to that, maybe only certain classes of them. But in essence, they're acting just like automobiles. When they ride in the street, they're going along at just about the same speed. Many of them have no helmets on. I would also be in favor of a helmet law at some point, and I think some counties in New York have already done that by some of the literature that I have read before. So I guess my last thing to say is there was an article in the Times-Union Sunday. The accident rate is down in the city of Albany month to month about 12% since they instituted a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit across the whole city. And they've also installed more speed cameras, and I mentioned those last time I was here. So that's just an aside. I think those things really do make a big difference. And I wanted to ask the question, Mr. Mayor, I think you said last time there was a speed camera that the city had acquired and we were going to experiment with it.
Yeah,
Is there an update on it?
hasn't, well, it's been purchased, it's not delivered yet, so it's gonna be
okay,
another
it's
couple
on-
months till we get it.
It's on the way.
And then Chief will learn how to use it and be bringing in, making sure that whatever maybe ordinances need to be passed to use it, like, right, this is it's a fairly new development in New York State that they're using devices that can monitor your speed and issue a ticket. And so we had ARPA money, and so we knew that was something that we talk about probably we've talked about it, but also the chief and, both chiefs have talked about that traffic safety is probably one of the biggest safety as Glens Falls grows busier and busier, that we know because of the way our community is, there are favorite cut-through streets that we all know and use and hopefully obey the traffic laws. We also know that we have a camera that shows the speed that you're going at, that's mobile, that we've used for years, and it tends to slow things down. We give out some tickets, and then we move on to the next street, and then the traffic goes right back up. And so we were able to allocate what was a significant amount of money of ARPA money to buying this that could also issue something that could measure the speed and take a photograph of the license plate and help us to issue tickets. So first thing we did was purchase it. When it comes in, then we'll start the work at figuring out how to use it and what the best policies are, and obviously those all come to you first that refer you. So
Great.
yes,
And
coming soon to a
Great.
city near you.
I'm glad to hear that. I'll just dovetail in with the couple that talked about school and the bike train or whatever you have called that. I think the most important place to start with that, if it is started, is in school zones. Because the way I started to think about that, I've seen people speed through Kensington School all the time, around even the high school, middle school. It's terrible. And with those cameras, that would make a big difference. It doesn't have to be seen as a money grab. It's a safety issue about the children that are going to school and all the extra traffic with, cars dropping kids off. So.
Sure.
Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you for your time.
Thank
Thank you.
Great. Great.
So not hearing any more public comment, we have one more.
Oh, you're just listening, okay, we didn't know.
So Number 3 on our item is a resolution to approve the minutes of the February 25th, 2025 Board of Public Safety meeting. Do we have a motion?
Also move.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 4 is a resolution to approve the annual Abe Wings 3rd grade bike rodeo on May 15th, 2025 to be held from 12:45 until 2:30. This will entail a road closure on Orchard Street from Lawrence to the playground. Fence and work orders have been sent to DPW and Police Department as well. So do we have, I'm sorry.
Make a motion.
Make a motion? Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. 5 is a resolution to approve, I'm sorry, I'm getting myself in the council meetings there. Roll call vote, I read them all, and then we have a motion, and I'm not in a council meeting right now, so I apologize. 5 is a resolution to approve the Zonta Club of Glens Falls Annual Craft Fair to be held May 10th to the 11th, 2025, at 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., both days in City Park. Road closure is on Maple Street between Bay and Ridge Streets for the whole weekend, with Bay Street being partially closed from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. From Glen Street to Maple, and from Lapham to Glen Street to the Larac parking lot. Facilitate vendor unloading and loading, and that's on May 10th. And work orders have been sent to our police department and our DPW. Do we have discussion or a motion?
I'll move approval.
Do we,
I'll second.
excuse me?
So you sure? Discussion?
I'm
Yes,
sorry,
question.
yes, excuse me. Do we have a copy of the insurance, certificate of insurance?
If not, we certainly will before we.
I followed up on that and got one. There were 3 of them that didn't have his name as additional insureds. So I got those yesterday and I dropped them off with your secretary
Great.
for
Thank
inclusion
you.
in the file.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, it is in the file. I apologize. I didn't look on the next page.
Yeah, well,
I
some-
it wouldn't have
apologize.
surprised me. Chip's been out a
Defective,
couple
though.
days,
Some
so-
are defective.
We
Yeah.
know to
Thank
get
you.
them and stuff, and a lot
Yeah.
of times they'll
Yeah.
be working on them,
Yeah.
so that's great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, we have a motion. I believe we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Big agenda here because we missed last month. 6 is a resolution to approve annual Memorial Day Parade and Remembrance Ceremony hosted by the City of Glens Falls and the Town of Queensbury to be held on May 26, 2025, with a step off at 10 a.m. until completed. Immediately following is our Remembrance Ceremony at the Veterans Memorial and the corner of Glen and Fire Road. There is no certificate of insurance. This is a city event covered under our city insurance. Work orders have been sent to our DPW and police department. Questions, comments, motions?
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. 7 is a resolution to approve the 5th Annual Veterans and First Responders Suicide Awareness and Prevention Walk to be held Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 in City Park from noon until 5 p.m. The walkers made 2 laps around the block on Maple, Ridge, and Glen Streets on the sidewalk with no crossing no roads. They're requesting a reservation of 4 parking spaces on Maple Street to unload tables and exhibits. Question? Motion?
I'll move approval.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Resolution to, 8 is a resolution to approve retroactively the Glens Falls School District Champions Parade that was held on March 30th at 2:30 in honor of the district's winning teams of 2024 to 25 sporting season. The parade consisted of a truck and trailers flanked by city EMS service vehicles and began at Glens Falls High School and proceeded to the Queensbury Hotel for an indoor celebration. Work orders were sent and their duties were listed. Any questions? Motion to approve?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Yeah, it was a great event. Resolution to approve the 11th annual Coolidge Avenue Block Party with a two block road closure on Coolidge from Coolidge Ave from Glen to Crandall to be held on May 26th as done before from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Event holders are aware need to maintain a clear lane for EMS and needed to erect and take down barricades as provided.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, thank you. 10 is a resolution to approve the family and neighbor block party to be held on Friday, July 4th. It's 2025, 10 a.m. until, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Grove Avenue between Ackley and Davis. The event holders are aware of the need to maintain the clear lane for EMS and needed to erect and take down barricades provided by DPW. We have a motion, do we have a second? Oh, sorry, question, sorry.
Do we allow it at 10 p.m.?
Yeah, the noise ordinance is at 10, so we allow it to happen then, and we'd close it early if there was any complaints or concerns, but we'd ask them.
We've had other block parties that end at 10.
Yeah, I guess I didn't, I usually saw 9. That's fine.
Do we need insurance, certificate of insurance on
No,
that?
they decide, they know that,
They know.
they decide, yep.
Okay.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 12, what did I just do? 11. Yeah. So 12 is a resolution to approve the annual Glens Falls Collaborative Wing Fest to be held on April 26th from the hours of noon to 3 p.m. utilizing Ridge Street, Glen Street, Ridge Street, and City Park with a request to waive the open container ordinance for that event. No containers being allowed to Cranwood Trust property. Event holders requesting the closure only of Glen Street. 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. on that day. Any thoughts, questions? Motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Did we miss 11?
We
Yeah.
did. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm
Hey,
confused.
you know, just had trouble.
Farmer's Market.
Yeah, it's different Maple Street, isn't it?
Yep, it's all right.
11, resolution to approve the closure of Maple Street on Saturdays, 5:30 a.m. to 1:30 on the date range of May 3rd through June 1st. And we'll also move the TD Bank parking lot, will be moved into the TD Bank parking lot for the weekend of LARAC to host Glens Falls Farmers Market until they occupy the newly constructed South Street Market Center. The farmers market vendors will erect and take down barricades before and after the event. And any questions about these?
Make a motion.
Yeah. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now on to 13. Resolution to approve the 2025 LARAC Arts Festival to be held June 14th and 15th in City Park in the same manner as previously as LARAC events have been conducted. Set up the work will begin on June 13th at 8 a.m. with road closures of Maple Street from Ridge to Bay. Will be held as Bay Street from Glen Street to Washington, and at the end of Sunday, June 15th at 8 p.m. Work orders have been sent, and we've met with LARAC, and we're helping them with this event to try to grow it over time. Any questions or comments?
Did you work out the extra porta potties with them?
They are getting some extra porta potties
Okay.
using some of our support. They had 12 on the list without our support. I think they were adding a few more on top.
It's not in our wheelhouse, but I thought I'd
That's
ask.
right. Well,
I
they,
knew you'd take care of it.
the city of Glens Falls went to the Warren County Occupancy Tax Board and asked them for funding to help grow some events that were in downtown that we thought were ripe for growth, that could help keep people here in Glens Falls longer, to help them grow to a point where more heads and beds and generating more sales and revenue tax. And LARAC was one of those events. And so they did give Glens Falls, we actually got the second largest award of occupancy tax in Warren County with
Nice.
$100,000 to give to
Nice.
four
Good.
Well
four
done.
different events.
Nice work.
Yeah,
Well
thank
done.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so it was something else. So 14 is a resolution to approve the annual Glens Falls Collaborative Boo to You.
Oh, hold on.
We didn't.
we
we
didn't.
didn't.
Oh, well, hey, look at
I was
me.
like, wait a
I'm
minute.
always trying to sneak them in here quicker.
I'll
Do we
make-
have any other questions?
Make a motion.
Motion? Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm sorry.
Motion carries. Now 14. Here we go. I'll get this straight before we're done, I promise.
To you.
Resolution to approve the annual Glens Falls Collaborative's Boo to You to be held on October 25th, 2025, from the hours of 2 to 4 p.m., utilizing Glen Street, Ridge Street, and City Park. The event holder is requesting closure of Glen Street only, from the Circle to Bay Street, beginning at noon and reopening at 5 p.m. The blanket certification for all collaborative events will be on file, is on file. Any thoughts, questions?
Make a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. New business. Any old business for review? I just, I wanted, under old business, I'll just say that, I included in your packet, Commissioner Seidel had suggested that we look at what we might do to make our sidewalks safer, possibly prohibiting the riding of bicycles on our sidewalks, and also there were concerns of EVs on those. We also have, so there was also Mr. Campe Bianca, who I don't see here anymore, but gave you information. I gave you all of that so that you could look through it. I think what we can do is have you look at that. There's also, I believe, examples of other similar laws in Ithaca. Chief Smith, did I get a chance? I know it's been a crazy day, so, or does anybody else have a copy of the current laws or codes on our sidewalks now? Have we done that? We have. So it's in your packet.
That email.
That email.
Did
So,
you see that?
so you now will see, I didn't, but there it is,
That's
and
it.
I didn't get a chance to get back to this, so thank you for getting that to us. I think that you've got also input there for some people who clearly feel strongly that this is not the way to go. There are people who are thinking that we are going to, that if we change and look at this in any way, that we are pushing, since I think the age that we talked about when we were discussing was 10 and above, under, that 10 and above, that you might be too old to be riding your bicycle on the sidewalk. That we, I think one person said, I can't believe you're actually considering pushing 11-year-olds into the street, right? I know that you're intelligent enough to look at these comments and take them at their merit. I think we need to look at all input and consider it on its merits, and so that's why I gave you this all in a packet. We're welcome to discuss it, and I'll let you discuss it at any time. But I think after you've looked at it, that we should what do we do to move forward? What are our current rules and laws? I also would like to draw your attention in the packet was something that I swear we did not plan, or I did not plan, but Officer Warrington, and he's, what was the title? He said, Public Safety Officer? He's just one of our bike officers.
That's what
Very
it
good.
Yeah, that's
Thank
what
you.
you have.
Yes.
That's why they have that email.
Yep.
You have it.
So what a great idea. And that is our recommendation from one of our bike officers. Not recommendation, but a reminder, kind of like we do at city council meetings. And I'll be glad to read this into the record at the next city council meeting too, that, this is our current, we do it for winter. We do recommendations of don't forget, we might get snow next week, and please clear your sidewalks. This is great public safety awareness. I think Councilman Landry always tells us to make sure we're shoveling not only our sidewalks, but if you have a fire hydrant in front of your house, that you shovel around the fire hydrant, so that firefighters aren't trying to do that at 2 in the morning in case of a fire. So I think these are things for you to consider, and I think that we that maybe you'll come back with some opinions as to what next steps move forward. I did ask Chief Smith, and maybe you could just tell us, I know that Bernie told me, or my secretary told me, so, but that was a whole 35 minutes ago, and I couldn't possibly repeat it right now. Tell us again, like, what would the data be regarding unsafe bicycles on streets? Do we have any, and how would it appear if we did?
I would have to take a look at it. I ran the reports for last year of pedestrians accidents, and there were 19. I didn't have time to go through each one to see if it involved a bicycle. Yeah, you'd have to decide how far back
You want to go?
you want to go with that data.
Right. So we could ask Chief Smith, I think that we want to make sure that we take what were our concerns and the concerns of everybody into weigh. And then as we start to look at recommendations, we also try to make sure we're looking at data. And then what, and with the understanding that not all data in a bicycle or, data on sidewalk safety might make it. So we need to understand that that data may not be as clean or as complete as if we were to ask about a particular intersection of traffic accidents, right? Because those, even though I guess a few of those might not get reported, but the majority, vast majority, if we're called to a scene, they're all being reported. So I just think that we need to look at everything. I love the fact that you've got already, I believe, Mr. Campabianca, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing his name, the Ithaca, New York, did he give us that, or did you, Mike?
I think we both did it independently.
Great. So there's at least some examples of how other communities are using this. And then we should do that. And when we come to a point where you think you've weighed it out, some ideas that you want to kick around, we then should have a series of public input meetings. I'd also like to, as soon as we think we might have a thought or a direction we're thinking, I think we should bring in, we have 3 different bike groups in Glens Falls. And I'd like them to come and tell you about the situation of our bike lanes, where, so we had AGFTC did an entire suggestion, identified where our bike lanes currently are throughout the city, where they'd suggest we have them, where they'd suggest we don't have them. And then we had the Warren County is just finishing up a plan through one of their grants to look at bikes in Warren County, and they certainly included Glens Falls. I met with them a few months ago about, they've got some suggestions as maybe, bikes coming in from the bike path where they would suggest we add bike lanes. And in every one of those conversations, there's always the question of how much parking space are you giving up, and then is that okay with everybody? Because there's always differing. Some people want to give no parking spaces up. Some people think that we need bike lanes and only bike lanes, and parking, it's okay, we'll have to deal with it because we need to make this safer. I'm just suggesting that there's many different opinions on these things, not any one necessarily right or all wrong. And then the third group is the Glens Falls Bike Group, which Nora Bell is part of, but not, so they're just another group that I've invited all 3 groups to work together to have one comprehensive outlook on bike plans. I haven't been able to achieve that yet, but I'm trying. And it's not that they don't want to work together, it's just that it's tough. I don't think, if I'm going to be fair, I don't think we as a city have placed enough attention on bikes, sidewalk safety, and it's a big blanket statement, and I hope that nobody takes offense to it. If I'm being critical by accident, I hope I'm being critical of me first. I just would like us to work together with these outside organizations. Barbie is actually a 4th group, which is called Adirondack Cyclists, and they've come and talked to us about more bike, they are interested in off-road bikes on some of our watershed property, bike paths. And I think all that needs to be looked at. I think that we need them to get together and make some clear recommendations and then bring them to the Board of Public Safety. And I'll invite those groups to come, I think, come and talk to you about it. I'd like it to be more coalesced than what I'm giving to you right now, because as you can see, I'm struggling just to name all the groups and their different opinions. So, but that's my goal.
It's a good idea.
All right.
To get those people together.
Yeah, get them together, get them to make some recommendations that they can agree on for us to consider. And I definitely, if we're gonna look together at possibly changing our code about the uses of our sidewalks, and especially because it was about bike, that bikes can be, especially adults, going the wrong way, not paying attention to the rules can be a very dangerous thing. I think we were all in agreement when Mike brought that to us. Everybody went, yeah, we've seen it, right? And we know. And we know about the and I wouldn't even say e-bikes, e-scooters,
anything.
Yeah, they're like, the ones that I'm thinking about is like, it's a single-wheeled skateboard, right? I guess because I don't have a better word for it. So I think all those things we could look at and come up with some suggestions as to how we want to move forward. But at the same time, I got in your packet the differing opinions.
Yeah.
How's that? All right? Thank you.
I'd like to suggest something.
Yes, sir.
The whole idea of sidewalks, obviously, is so that pedestrians don't walk in the street. They walk on the side. That's why it's a sidewalk. And so it's good to get all the bicycle stakeholders here to talk about what they think is appropriate, and that's great. But, it's not the bicyclist I'm worried about. It's the elderly coming into Glens Falls. I think 1.5 million people a day reach retirement age in this country. And many people move here when they're older because it's a nice place to live and you can walk around unmolested downtown as opposed to Lark Street in Albany or State Street in Schenectady. So our demographics are probably even skewed more towards the fragile elderly.
Yeah, sure.
So,
those in attendance included, right? All of us.
yeah, so, we're gonna
Except
need,
maybe Emily.
no, she's a kid. So we really, if we're gonna get all the reasonable stakeholders involved, we need more than just the guys who ride around on wheels.
Yep.
Correct.
We need maybe somebody from senior citizens, maybe somebody from the hospital, maybe a geriatrician, maybe an orthopedic guy.
I think you gotta allow battery operated wheelchairs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You've gotta allow them.
Gotta allow them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are stipulations in many of the laws that do, they stipulate that they are not included in that law, anybody with a handicap.
Oh, yeah, great.
Yes.
Sure.
Well, just like the little kids, let them ride their bikes on the
Yes.
sidewalk, and the people with wheelchairs, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they're not a hazard, they're not going 25 miles an hour down the
No.
sidewalk.
In the wrong direction and
Oh,
not
yeah.
paying attention
Yeah.
to traffic, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're in agreement, Mike, and I think that when we get there, that the first thing we do is share it with all those groups, either that or invite them in. So again, I don't think it would be, if we were tomorrow or next week, even next month, invite those bike groups in, I don't know if it would be productive. I need the bike groups to get together to help paint a good picture of what bike lanes are being suggested by people who aren't, to the rest of us who aren't experts in bikes. When we decide, or not decide, but think that we've got a direction to go in maybe an ordinance regarding our sidewalks or a cautionary or a guidance, how's that? A guidance that would give us some direction as to what we want to do. Then I agree with you. Like, we've got to involve the Glens Falls Senior Center. We've got to involve the Independent Living Center too. We've got to involve the Glens Falls I'm thinking the Glens Falls Housing Authority, right? So, agreed, yeah, and you got to, I hadn't thought of orthopedists, but certainly we need, I think that you don't want to exclude anybody when you're getting that public input. And we gotta be open to it all and know that, sometimes things, as in some of your comments here, they tend to run at extremes. Just like what happened when we had this conversation about our bike path and the things, right?
Yeah.
People can run to extremes and
That's right.
I'm learning as mayor, I'm trying every day just to not react to that, to listen and to let that be. It's gotta be heard like everything else. All right? So you've got your material, please look it over and thinking about how it might, and I'll start to try to meet with the chief and think of how this might look as we consider things. Okay?
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Chief Smith's report.
I don't have anything new to report. I was gonna bring up the radar trailer, the speed sign that has been purchased, and we're just waiting for it to come in. Once I know the full capabilities of what it can do, we'll get a training on it, and then we'll set up a plan as to how we're going to implement that, where, and that type of thing. So that's all. Nothing new I had.
Chief, could you also, whenever you come with that information, whenever it gets here, I know sometimes things take months to get here. I mean, it's a pretty extensive piece of equipment, so. But also, can you maybe come and talk about the regular road safety that your officers, like, is there, during certain times of the day, is there a patrol car out that is monitoring speed safety, or do they pay attention to the roads that I kind of mentioned off just my history of Glens Falls, East Sanford being one of the favorite ones, right? And but there are many, and so can you just come back and talk to us in general how you guys approach those on a regular basis? And I also know, I don't think I've told everybody here, but let me tell you as well, that we've applied through the Greater Glens Falls, Adirondack Glens Falls Transportation Council for Western Avenue to be on the TIP Transportation Improvement Plan, just like we did with Webster, and before that we did with Dix. So what we've asked for is money to redo the sidewalks and the pavement through the entire strip of Webster, and then what we'll do is, if we get approved for that, we'll go in and we'll undo and redo all the water and sewer, and we'll pay for that, but the TIP pays for all the above ground. We did it at Dix, we did it on Webster, and they're finishing up Webster this spring. Wanted you to know, because that tends to be one of the biggest.
You're talking Western.
Western, yes. Did I say?
Yeah,
Apologies.
Webster,
Yes,
yeah.
Western Avenue.
It is.
So that is,
Western.
it's one of the worst streets. When I was there with, because Western ends the city property, we're in charge of the road and the public right of way, but then on the western side is town of Queensbury. Those homes are in Queensbury. Their public right of way is in Glens Falls. Don't ask me who made up that map, but it is the way it is.
Yeah.
So Supervisor Strow and I were walking the street as we looked, and we were applying with AGFTC. And while I was there, 3 people rolled through,
Stop signs.
and a couple of them very quickly through that intersection right by the school. And I was like, this is nuts, right? And there's a big concern. So please let us know that, and I'll keep you posted on Western and the progress there. I don't know. Also, I'll bring to you, last thing before we ask the chief to accept his report, a meeting with Glens Falls School District again tomorrow to look at their traffic study and where we are on what recommendations were with AGFTC. We've applied for some more grants and gotten them for traffic calming devices, and also it calls for an addition of sidewalks and other traffic. There's a recommendation for a one-way. We'll be bringing those recommendations to you for your final approval once the school and AGFTC tell us what's next, where we are, okay? Yes.
Mayor, may I ask a question, please?
Absolutely.
Was this study just done on Quaid? Was it done also on Grant?
Yeah, it was done throughout the whole area around the school.
Around
Let
the
me
high
get
school.
you a copy of that. I'll get you a copy of
Thank
that.
you,
I
thank
thought
you.
we had already given it to you, but I'll give it to you again, make sure, okay?
Yeah.
So a copy of the school traffic study. It's quite extensive.
Yeah.
And AGFTC paid for it. And it calls for 3 more studies that have been approved in I think in this year's budget for us to do a study around 3 of the elementary schools.
Okay.
Jackson, Kensington, and maybe Big Cross. Don't hold me to that, isn't it? You think? Yeah. So those will also, we're not waiting to start this, but those are also included in there, as well as we've gotten approval to do the crossing that Councilman Landry came to us, which is the crossing on Bay
Yes,
Street,
Bay Street.
right? So
Mhm.
that's all in the works.
Okay.
And we've had people coming to us thinking we're not doing much, and we are, but unfortunately, it always takes too long. So a copy of school traffic study to Board of Public Safety. We will bombard your email with it. All right? There you go. And so, any questions for Chief Smith? I think I talked more than he did. That's not fair.
Make a motion.
Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Chief Smith's committee is also working,
Thank you.
and Darlene are working with the task force that I created, that I announced at the State of the City. They're starting to look at the at-risk population that's in our park and what they might do. It's about 12 people in that, and and as they get recommendations, they'll be coming to you. We're also applying for grants that would allow us to start a LEAD program, Lead Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion. Started out in Seattle. The Albany police chief had run one as well. I think he retired and then went back to work for Albany again, but he has been a consultant to us, and we've applied for some opioid money from Warren County to address that as well.
Good.
All right. Deputy Modar asked for his forgiveness to not be here, but would like you to make any questions about Deputy Modar's report?
No.
Do we have a motion to approve his report?
I'll move that.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
I,
Just one thing,
Yes.
we gotta go back on the all in favor thing for
the chief.
the chief's
Yeah,
report.
please.
No, I got that one.
Oh, you did we do all?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Oh, we did?
Okay.
Oh,
Yep.
I didn't think we did it.
Yeah.
No, I did, you're good.
Thank,
Let's see, I do not believe we have a need to go into executive session.
may I? I'm sorry. When we were, forgive me,
Yeah, no,
Gentlemen.
that's good.
New business.
New business, good.
Quickly, South Street,
Yes.
Elm, blocked off, stop signs,
Mhm.
people running that stop sign like it's no tomorrow. They're just, the purpose of the stop sign, I don't know anymore. And my husband and I walk, as you know, all over. And nobody
I saw you
stops at that
today.
stop
I
sign.
saw you this morning, yeah.
Nobody stops at that stop sign. There's a stop sign in the middle of
The problem is you-
Elm
I don't
in
think-
south now, and Elm is all blocked off in the north and south.
Mhm.
But they're running the stop sign, that's,
Well, I think that we call the chief and ask him to pay attention to that intersection. We actually have had an accident there, I know, in the last 6 months, I think we had at least one.
yeah.
And I think that's the thing. There are people who have
Yeah.
expressed
Well,
concern and want not to be a stop sign, but they say it's too dangerous and they want a red light again.
Yeah.
Well, and that's less restrictive than the stop sign.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
I think that's just some people in Glens Falls deciding that they're not gonna pay attention to the rule and the law.
Yeah.
And I think that we'll get that intersection cleaned up. We are meeting, we'll continue to meet with the three different developers right now, but soon to be on May 16th, we'll have the ribbon cutting of our market center. And yes, we're asking the governor to come. It will be a highlight of all, we're trying to get every Glens Falls restaurant to come and be part of an event and music there for this ribbon cutting at 3 to 5 on Friday the 16th. And that will take one of the contractors will be done. That would be Bunk Off. And then there will be Bonaccio's project that will continue. We need to try to get them to open back that piece of South Street so that it goes. Also, Chris Patton with his property across the street, that building that's been dilapidated for longer than 30 years, which is great that he does it. He's got a dumpster on a couple of the parking spots in front of his building. I'm going to ask him to see when that might be able to come off and we get that back open. But it's tough to ask somebody who's putting in $4 million worth of improvement to a building that's been empty for 30 years, or mostly empty for 30 years, to do that. We want to do both. We need to ensure public safety and accessibility as much as, and the development. Right now, there is $73 million worth of approved commercial and residential construction approved in Glens Falls and being built. It's truly an amazing thing that'll be done within the next 12 to 18 months.
That's great.
Yeah, it's just unprecedented. And so that is that.
Great.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.